I say, Lindy, I'm having these things. And you say, well, come to one of my sound baths. What does that do for people?
Healing in a way that unless you experience it, you will not know what it has anything to do about.
How did you make the connection to sound and healing?
A lot of them will say that have no idea where they were, but something amazing just happened.
Hello, all you beautiful people, and welcome back to Talkin St Pete. I'm your host, Ryan Bogdan. Before I jump into today's guest, this is the first episode that we're recording since we launched, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that has listened, commented, liked, shared, told all your friends about it. The feedback that we've been getting is awesome, and it's just really encouraging us to keep going and getting more awesome guests on the show for you guys to learn more about St. Pete, which brings me to our guest today, Lindy Romez. And let me tell you, I'm so excited about this episode because she is a fellow veteran from the 82nd Airborne, which is way more badass than anything that I've done in the Air Force. And she started a nonprofit called Calm One, which started from noticing a tick in increase in suicides from veterans. And she does sound healing and guided meditation, and I can't wait to tap into that consciousness. Lindy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited. I'm glad that Milani was able to introduce us and do all that because I'm big into yoga myself. My sister's a yoga teacher, being a veteran, so I feel like we're gonna have a great conversation today
I can't wait. I'm
connecting.
looking forward to it.
Yes. So tell me how, as a woman, one, to be airborne, amazing. Hats off to you. How did that come to be?
That came to be out of I signed it up as a musician initially going into the service. So,
big difference.
Yes. So you have to still do basic training. You go to your 6 month school of music as a musician. And during that time, there was a sergeant there that was my platoon sergeant that was 82nd Airborne. He kept on hyping it up. So in my early 20s, thinking that was a great idea, my mom probably would say something differently, but I decided to get stationed at the 82nd Airborne Division. So 4 weeks at jump school in the hottest place in the country in Georgia, Columbus, Georgia.
Very humid.
Yes, very hot.
Yes.
So, and then the rest of that is history, but primarily a musician.
So you're a musician while you're in the 82nd?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's cool. I didn't even know that was a thing.
It is.
And what did you play?
Trumpet.
Okay, so that ties into the sound healing, I'm guessing, a little bit, because I've had the opportunity to watch one of your YouTube videos where I think you had like 13 sound bowls and a gong. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know what video I'm talking about. It's like 50 minutes long. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, how did she learn to do this?
You know, it's amazing. I say this before, but I thought I knew the power of sound. I think I play one of the most powerful instruments in the world, a trumpet. But when I was suffering with my own post-traumatic stress after the service and after a car accident, and what I found through my own healing journey was what the most smallest intricate sounds made from your voice or a bowl is the most healing and that's where the power of sound really resides, is in these sacred instruments. Mm. And being able to offer them in this way is healing in a way that unless you experience it, you will not know what it really has anything to do about.
Right. So how did you discover, so you're playing the trumpet, you're a musician prior to going into the service. How did you make the connection to sound and healing? When did that come to be for you? That
happened when I had a neck injury that some of it was service related and the other part of it was through a car accident. So I had paralysis down both my arms, bulging disc between my fifth and sixth cervical spine. And at the time, I couldn't play any instrument at all. Everything. So music was gone. Mm. So what I thought was the other side of me was music was completely out of the question. There was no way that I was ever going to play trumpet again and any other instruments either, just because of the paralysis and all the pain that I was experiencing. So I went down this healing journey, and about 4 years into the medical recommendations and what I found wasn't working, I decided to take myself off all medications and go down this healing journey and researching meditation, sound, mantras, beads, the yogic and Vedic sciences, Buddhism, Hinduism. And I just kept on going. One led me to the next, led me to the next. Books literally fell out on the floor in bookstores. So I sat down, the first time I sat down with my set of beads. This is actually my original set. They were white wood at the time. And this was in 2004. And I gave myself a mantra to do. And at the time, I really couldn't sit in the chair. It was uncomfortable. Laying down was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable in my body. Everything was in pain. I was angry. I was frustrated. I didn't understand what all this was in my body. So I had this old, those old school Papasan chairs.
Yes, they're my favorite. The big circle ones. My sister actually went on a mission to make sure she had one because of being for her yoga room.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had one at the time, and that was the only place that I can actually sit or kind of halfway cradle myself where I can get through this meditation. So what I did took about 20 minutes, and I assigned myself, I picked out a mantra, and I went through 108 beads. And after that, I just sat with myself with the reverberation because I said it out loud. And I went on to the rest of the day, went get ready for work, took driving into work. And all of a sudden, I was looking around driving. Everything changed. Like that day, something miraculous happened. So you can call it awakening. I think we awaken every day. And then when you do practice like this, you awaken even more. So I heard every bird in the sky, every sound, the light from the sun was shining differently. I went into work. Everything was something different. So, and to me, it felt like, you know how you look at one of those kaleidoscopes, and you just turn it just like this and everything changes. So it was kind of like that.
It sounds like you were brought to like the truest form of presence.
Ultimately, yes. Yeah.
In that moment, and that mantra brought you to that awaken.
So it's the sound of my own voice, the sound of being intentional of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. I want to get out of pain.
Right.
I want to live a happy, fulfilled life.
Yes.
That I had before the pain.
Yes.
So I found that.
And so the shift in mindset for you and having that mantra, which was feeding the subconscious, helped you on your discovery path of many things that led to sound healing.
Yes.
And now you help others.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And so for those who don't know, Lindy puts on a sound healing, would you say a class? How would you call it? A Gulfport that you do on Wednesdays?
I call it a sound bath.
Sound bath.
So it's open to the public on Gulfport Beach.
Yes, so those, if you're interested, which maybe as we dive deeper into all the cool sound things, more people will be showing up for you.
Right.
So tell me, okay, how do I find you, or what am I suffering with? I come to you, I say, Lindy, I'm having these things. And you say, well, I come to one of my sound baths, and what does that do for people?
It helps them to, if they're able to be still in a sound session with their physical body, then their mind stills. And I walk them through a guided relaxation before I start playing the bowl so they can get into the body, get into their breath, so they can understand within themselves, they have the power within them to heal. Along with their intention, all those are aligned. The sound is just an added benefit. But the sound, again, is very healing. So it'll take the brain wave out of these different states, lowering them down into the like alpha, theta, and then delta, if they're able to get that deep. A lot of them will say that I have no idea where they were, but something amazing just happened. Sometimes they cry, sometimes they shake, sometimes things happen that,
And so does this happen for you on a weekly basis?
Absolutely.
And wow, what a gift that you have to give to people to be able to create that space. That's remarkable. And is it regulars that are coming? Do you have the same people that come weekly, or is it new people?
Both.
Both. Okay.
It's about half and half, because I'll ask every week how many people are new to this. Have you been to the sound bath before? And how'd you hear and that?
And so what led you to doing sound baths? Like take us a little more in your journey of, you discovered you had your mantra, you had your beads, you're going through that, you're having this awakening experience, and you're in tune with music and the trumpet. When did you play your first sound bowl?
Oh, that's fun. A friend of mine gave me the smallest, I still have it at home, sound bowl. This has been probably about 12 years ago, maybe longer. And I didn't know that later on, like how many years later I would be doing this. But in 2017, I was given that 22 push-up challenge. Did you?
Yes, I participated.
Yeah, me too. Hua.
Yes.
So after I participated and I did my 22 push-ups, and then I tagged my fellow veterans and that, and I went on, I couldn't sleep for like 2 weeks afterwards. And I was bothered by, what are we doing about this? So it's the 22 push-up challenge, if no one knows about that, is to gain awareness for veterans that are committing suicide at the rate of 22 a day.
Yes.
And that hit me hard because my job as a musician, while I was in the service was to boost morale. And when they came home in a body bag, my job was also to lay them to rest.
Yes.
Playing taps at their funeral. So for the 2 weeks, I was asking, what are we doing about this? And I didn't know who we are. Everything changed when I asked myself, what can I do about it? With the understanding of what my role was when I was in the service, I saw one end of it to the other.
Right.
So it led me to go to India for sound healing. So
How cool.
I went to India and got certified in Tibetan bowls and another meditation course I took there. I'd already been yoga certified in 2011, so I can keep my physical body in alignment and out of pain from accidents and injuries. So the rest of it was from there. So I came back from India. I'm in the airport in Germany, and I hear this in my mind or my head, you have to offer this. You have to offer. I was like, what is this? And then I heard this song by Michael Jackson, Heal the World.
How powerful.
Yeah. It wasn't playing anywhere. It was just in my head.
Right.
Yeah.
Just give this gift that you were just given in India and bring it back and help veterans. So that's a very powerful story and moving, and I'm sure there's so many layers to that. So while you're in India learning about sound bowls, because I find it fascinating. So, for the people listening to this and they're not aware, like sound is so powerful. Nikola Tesla says everything has a frequency. Our bodies are no different than that. I believe in that strongly. And so, you can feel energy in different rooms. And I've had the pleasure to play with a sound bowl, to be encompassed in some sound baths, not to the extent of 13 bowls and a whole gong. I want to experience, because that just looked amazing. But from firsthand experience, it just brings you to such a present moment. I can share a story here quickly, because I have one sound bowl. It's the yellow one. I don't know which chakra that is.
That's the solar plexus.
Okay, the solar plexus. Okay, so I have the yellow sound bowl. I'm living in Philadelphia. I invited a new buddy of mine over, and he's like, "Oh, what's that?" And I sit down and I start to play it, and he goes, "Holy cow, man, I'm here." He goes, "I don't know where I was before this, but I'm here now." It brought his attention to the room so quickly because the sound is so distinct. So more is why I'm excited about this and everything that you have going on. So help us, okay, you're in India, so exciting. You're there with an intention to do Tibetan sound bowls. What does that entail? How do you get certified in Tibetan sound bowls?
Well, there was a course that was given by this guru there. So it was a 3-day crash course all day long. You're in this intense understanding of how to use the bowls, how to connect with the bowls, how to play the bowls, how to apply them on the body, the physical body themselves. So the hand hammer ones, like this one is, they're vibrationally in nature. So they're made to be placed on the body, so the body becomes in harmony. Also with the sound, you hear that as well. So we hear more than with just our ears. Our skin you can hear with that, or the vibration in our body, our spine, the fluids in our system. We're 70 to 85% water. So that all makes a perfect resonant chamber for taking in the sound from these bowls.
So for those that are just listening, we have a Tibetan sound bowl on the table that's hand hammered and has what's written on it. What language is that?
That's Sanskrit.
Sanskrit on the bowl, and you can tell that it was hand hammered, and it's about the size of I don't know, a large salad bowl, maybe a large cereal bowl. It's very pretty, and the sound that this thing makes is unbelievable. Real quick, do you think, I don't know how it will pick up on the microphones, but let's try. Do you think you could just play it for just a second? Yeah, let's go for that. So she's got for those that are listening, a mallet. What is this at the end? It's made.
This is a mallet. It's kind of soft, so the sound that it's going to give, it's going to not going to be as sharp, so it'll be soft but yet warm.
Okay.
And I'll play 2 mallets, and I'll show you the difference between the different frequencies that they emit.
Yes.
With the mallets that you use.
So hopefully, for those that are listening, hopefully this sounds. It won't be anything like what we're experiencing in the room, but let's see what this sounds like. I'm excited.
All right, here we go.
Go. That's really cool. I mean, immediately. So, the whole team here, you can feel the whole presence change in the room with this thing.
We're here now.
We're here now.
Yeah.
We're here now. Thank you, Lindy, for that. Yeah, let's see what the other one sounds like. Oh.
It rings out for a while, so more is happening than just the initial strike of the bowl. So
I can't explain how much joy that just brought me.
yeah. It's like playing in a sandbox.
Yeah. Really, that is so cool. I mean, these are instruments, but the simplicity of that sound brings you right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm not going to lie. I do my best to meditate every day. Might be every other, depending on the week, right? And to have a guided meditation similar to that, to just be so present and really pay attention to what is appearing in consciousness is something that I've been studying since COVID. So COVID for me brought me into a little more of a yoga journey of being alone, but doing yoga twice a day, lots of meditation. And that's how I got through it. I found it to be one of the best experiences of my life, even though I was by myself a lot. Because I really learned what was going on inside the mind, was able to pay attention to the thoughts. And that sound really brings you to the moment.
Yes, it does.
And that was one way that I was taught by, I don't know if you know the Sam Harris. You know him?
Yep.
Okay, so Sam Harris is a neuroscientist and has spent time in silent retreat for meditations. And he talks about how people think with meditation that you have to do it in a quiet place. And he teaches that you should be able to meditate in the construction zone, because you can use the sound of whatever's going on around you as a focal point. So these bowls create, to me, one of the best focal points to really focus on. Do you use a sound in your guided meditations? Because you do that as well, yes?
I do, yes. I have, my guided meditations are on Insight Timer, and they're on YouTube as, there's Echo Sync Meditations, and then there's on my own personal channel.
Echo Sync, what is that?
Echo Sync Meditations. That was I originally started to work on, along with trying to assist veterans and anyone suffering with PTSD or any diseases, was to create an online app. So I did that for a little bit, and then so many things going on with that. So I have all this content, so I'm uploading it into Insight Timer.
Oh, cool.
So basically what it kind of turned out to be is a prescription that what I offer people when they contact me from calm1.org. So I can work with anybody through the website, and they can read what we offer there, and then they can send some information to me, like what they're experiencing and how I can help them.
Oh, that's okay. I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So I'm going to have to check out one of your meditations online now that I know that they're there.
Absolutely. But the most interesting thing about creating that app was I created a series of sleep timers. And I had a veteran that had 2 tours in Afghanistan test them for me. And he was able to actually sleep. He hadn't been able to sleep for 10 years since he returned back from Afghanistan. He went to the VA. They gave him medication. He slept for 3 days, and he said, I can't take that. So he tested them, and what worked best for him was a frequency that I have embedded in the sleep timer that's able to bring the brain into a theta brainwave.
That's cool.
That's huge.
Yes.
And we can manipulate, we can kind of create what these bowls do in a way of like binaural beats, where you have different frequencies that help the brain to engage in more relaxing or harmonious brainwave states.
I use those.
Yes.
I do that when I need deep concentration. I think it's at 40 hertz. I think for deep concentration, I use binaural beats for that. And it does. I am locked in. You throw the earbuds in, and whatever's happening there on the binaural beats. I study a lot of things that have to do with the brain. And I heard that from Andrew Huberman, another neuroscientist. And so, yes, that's the fact that to have that in a sleep timer, I can see why that would work. That was a good idea.
Yeah.
So. Let's shift gears here a little bit. Tell me, how did you end up in St. Pete? Here we are talking St. Pete, and I feel like the demographics of area and the open-mindedness of people here in our community welcome everything that you have to do, because there are definitely some people who are closed-minded to this, alternative medicine, as some may call it. So how did you get to St. Pete?
It's funny because you have to take a shift out of corporate America in order to do what you're meant to do, and that's what I did. I'm leaving Orlando, so I moved here in 2010 and started to slowly get out of corporate America and start doing what it is that I do. So I'm a musician. I have a group in Orlando. We did smooth jazz at many festivals in the area. So I was doing some of that, but I knew that music is more healing than what just offering through jazz. But not just. I mean, your intention is you're still offering it. But I wanted to dive deeper because I knew that there was something more. And I kept on diving, and this is what happened. Yeah.
Okay. So since you've been here, I mean, that's a shift for you. Have you found talk to me what is the vibe of St. Pete for you? Because it's a very unique place and really cool. Yeah. And I'm curious of how everyone views it, because that's my mission here with this podcast is to discover why St. Pete for people. What is it about St. Pete that draws people in? And I'm curious of what your perspective on that is.
St. Pete has everything. Orlando was more landlocked for me. St. Pete was more close to the water. You have downtown. You have the arts community here that's huge. You have just anyone from any walks of life can come here and feel like they're at home. So St. Pete's vibe is really
warm. It's welcoming. Yes, and we've talked about that. How when you meet people here, everyone's inviting. Now there's a local community, but there's this also community of people who aren't from here. And I feel like when you have so many transplants right in one area, you meet someone and it's like, we can connect on the fact that we're not from here, but we're in this gorgeous place,
right?
And it feels very warm and welcoming, and the open-mindedness that is here, I have found to be fascinating, and I'm super happy to call this place home. What Gulfport, how did you select that location for your sound healing? Because I think Gulfport is a great spot for it, being an arts, probably the most artsy part of St. Petersburg. Why Gulfport?
Well, I wanted to have parking's always an issue. I love St. Pete for everything that it does. Parking is really difficult sometimes, and yes, it is. Gulfport has free parking. It's a lot of parking, so it doesn't matter how big or small your event is. You have space for people, so that's inviting for them. So when the pandemic happened, all the yoga studios in the area that I was doing sound baths in all closed. So people were messaging me, texting me, when can we do where they're suffering? We're all going through our own things, trying to see what this new normal is. Mm-hmm. I was probably the only one who was really super excited that we were going through this pandemic. Oh, this is great. It's going to bring everybody to their self, and then they're going to be able to sit still and not freak out. But that was the idea. So I said, okay, so let's meet on Gulfport Beach. It's small enough, but yet enough room there. So we met there 3 days in, and 40 people showed up.
40 people?
40 people on this beach.
Wow.
Showed up, and they're like, "Oh my God, Lindy, we have to. Can we do this once a week?" I'm like, "No, that's a lot of schlepping. I don't know."
Yeah. So how many bowls are you taking out with you?
Well, there's the gong. There's the 7 bowls. I kind of brought it down. There's shamanic drumming. There's an ocean drum. So the bulk of it is the instruments that are louder. I can't use the Tibetan bowls because they'll lose the resonance out there. But the crystal bowls, the gong, and the shamanic drumming is a big piece of the sound bath.
And so you're lugging that out there every week by yourself?
Yes.
That's like a whole band right there.
It really is.
Yeah.
So by the end of it, they all convinced me to have a sound bath once a week. So it's been every week since September of 2020 on Gulfport Beach, weather permitting, and this is what's happening from 6:15 to 8 p.m. Show up. That's donation-based. We're on the beach. Bring something, blanket to lay on, something to cover up with, your intention, why you're there, and we hash it out.
6:15.
6:15.
6:15. We need to make sure that gets on the calendar.
6:15.
Yeah, I'm coming to the
because
next
we
one.
start at 6:30, and
Yes.
I tell people this, but I don't have a door that I can close.
Right.
So I set the space to try to kind of bring in the energy. So once that space is set, if someone comes in, it really...
For those that are walking in late to like a yoga class, we,
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see you. I hear you. I know you're doing it.
Exactly.
That's a great idea. And that comes from military, right? If you're not 15 minutes early, you're
Okay,
late,
exactly.
right? So Lindy's still practicing her military ways. If you're not 15 minutes early to a class, you're late. Don't do it. And it's an interruption to others.
And two, it's the energy that's coming. I'm gotta go to meditation, and you're racing.
Right. Yeah. That's not the vibes we're going for there. We need to be calm, collective, and coming in with, like you said, a good intention. Okay. So 6:15, we're showing up 6:30 on the dot. I'm sure the bowls are ringing.
Happening. Yeah, we're talking about it. We're setting intentions. I have everybody to announce their name. So one by one, you share your name and what your intention is while you're there. And then I give them a quick rundown for the new people that this is what they're going to experiencing, because probably the most intense one there is the drum. The drum, it's on. So I have a whole shamanic journeying that I do, and I have all these healers behind me. So it is on.
I love that. Can we quickly, team, can we look at the calendar and find out when this is going to come out, and then the week after that, I want to see what the Talkin St Pete community is like and see how many people we can show up.
Yeah.
Is there a cap? Is that okay?
No.
Okay.
As you are.
Okay. So Talkin St Pete community, I'm relying on you. We're going to get a date here. And we're going to put it out to see how many people we can get to come hang with Lindy. And I want to be there and encompass all this greatness that you're giving to our community and the world. Do a lot of veterans show up, or is it really, I mean, how do people find out about you?
It's word of mouth. It's on Meetup. I've had Meetup since I came back from India,
Okay.
because I was, how do you get this out there? So it's on Meetup. It's on Eventbrite. It's on Facebook events. So it's on all of the things.
Do we have a date? Okay, we're still looking. We're still trying to figure out when this one's going to come out. It should be 2 weeks from today, or well, not from this Wednesday. Yeah. Okay, that's good. So what else? So tell me, what are you doing in your free time? How else are you involved in the community, if at all? What do you got going on when you're not out doing the sound on the beach?
So over the years, I have developed my own sound healing and meditation course. So there's 3. So I help to certify people to become sound healers, because I can't be the only one.
Right. No.
And we really need this in the community. And my goal is through Vibrational Medicine is the name of the sound healing course. There's a book that's going to be released on Amazon that anybody can look at and read all the information that I have put in this book in regards to sound healing, like what is coherence, what is entrainment, why is this important? So it tells you all about sound healing.
Yes.
So the goal is to certify people so they can go into veterans hospitals and do sound baths, because this tool and this sort of medicine needs to be out there. It needs to be part of what you prescribe to your patients. Mm-hmm. And if there was a weekly event that was happening in any hospital, this could potentially take care of anybody's diseases.
Yeah, because a big part of that is mind. This is mind over body, and to clear the mind and set these intentions and have the vibrations heal to a cellular level, because that's really what's happening here is these frequencies are doing that. I mean, I'm no doctor, right? But I'm sure we can watch what sound vibrations does to water in a bowl or a glass. You can see that it's moving, it's doing something. So something's happening to your body, and if it goes back in ancient times, I'm sure that, this definitely works. Tell us, do you have a success story that you like to talk about of someone who's found you and you've helped them overcome some type of PTSD or any traumatic experience or any type of diseases that they might have had?
Yeah, there's so many. It's because it's coming on 6 years right now. So what's interesting I had this one woman with a drum. She's actually a fellow yogi, and she lives in Costa Rica. And one time I was drumming, and she invited me to go do this sound bath at this women's retreat that she had here in town. So I came in the last day, and when I get there, people are crying. They're towards the end of they're wide open, right? So we do this sound bath, and when I come around to her, her body lifts up, like completely up off of the ground. And I'm drumming, and I'm like, what is happening? Because there's no physical way that a body can come up like that. Your core is not good, not that good, that your head is that way and your arms are bent down. So something was amazingly that's happening, right? So I was in my mind, and I'm talking to my guides. I'm like, what? Oh my God, I want to help them or help her. What can I do? And they said, you are doing it. Keep drumming. Because part of me wanted to stop drumming and help her. But they said, you are helping her.
So she was going through whatever healing or whatever she was going through, the sound of the drum was pulling this out of her.
Yeah, so I stood there for like 5-10 minutes playing over her, and eventually she dropped down to the ground. And there's been these practices, indigenous practices, and it going on, but it sounds so, and it woo-woo. People are afraid of it. Oh, gosh, there's an exorcism or whatever's happening with her. No. We have things within us that we can release. That is just a release.
No different than, you're saying that, and I'm like, how is that any different than an anger outburst? And you go, a bull through a china shop or angry, or people hit something.
Right.
This is a more, I would say, calm but expressive way of energy leaving the body of what she was experiencing, and your drumming brought this out of her. So did you get to talk to her after? What was she experiencing? So what,
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's funny. Well, not to go into this too deeply, but there's white lights coming up. This one woman in the room said that she saw the same thing. So all these beautiful things happen, but they sound a little...
And if you weren't there to experience it, it's going to be hard to...
It is. And like every week on Gulfport Beach, we afterwards, after they come back out, I'll guide them through a guided relaxation to come out of it. And then I open up, if you have anything to share. And every week, someone is sharing something beautiful. Like... Last week there was this woman that was there, and you know how you do intentions in yoga. You're like, I am peaceful, I'm calm, and they're all from the mind. You're trying to get down in your heart, but it's still here. So this one woman it was during the drumming part, and she was like, I am peaceful, I'm calm, I am this, I'm that, and she could feel that it was her mind doing that, and all of a sudden she heard in her mind or in her head, you are enough, and I am that already. I don't have to do anything. So she was able to, when she got up, she goes, I'm just want to share this with everybody because I want you to know that we are already at this. We don't have to do anything. We can just surrender to this ego that keeps us beckoning. And,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. As I reference my sister when we talk a lot about this, because she is very near and dear to my heart, and she tells me all the time, Ryan, you're a human being, not a human doing.
Yes.
And how true is that in that moment for her to realize it, just to be,
right,
and not to let the ego attach to anything to identify, even with your name, right? Exactly. Ego attaches to her name to say that I am Ryan, that you are Liddy, but that we are not that.
No, we're not that. And then when you've experienced a sound bath, when you're coming out of it, if you haven't moved and you don't feel your body, you've been out of your mind for a little bit, then you understand that you are everything and everything is you. When you're not attached to what this body is or what this mind is, then who are you? And people get really scared with that because who wants to know that? Because they don't know it. And the pandemic raised this for everybody. I have to be alone by myself. I'm like, great.
Right. Yeah, because you've already went through it. For you, you're like, this is an awakening for everyone to have these. And I feel like a lot of people did experience that. I've even heard songs that have been written about, during the pandemic from rappers and other people that talk about the time that they have with themselves. So even then, they don't feel the need to talk to anyone during the day. Once you really become at peace with yourself, you almost enjoy that solitude that you create in the safe space around you. I love what you said about the being everything, because I've experienced that on a very deep level. And it's so hard to put into words because I realize that words aren't enough for me. Words do not carry enough information for me to explain to you or the world what I'm experiencing. Like the information, if it's data from my consciousness to yours, right? There's a lack of information that's going across because it's hard to attach all the emotions and things that are encompassing in a word as we explain an experience. So to be deep in meditation or, at a sound bath and to have an experience where you feel that I am everything is so powerful and is probably the craziest experience I've ever had in my life. And do you think that, so you talked about that moment that you had after doing your mantra, was that something like that where you experienced that, and have you had that experience or did that come later for you?
That was, I was lucky to have grown up with a mother that was psychically aware. So all this spiritualism is not new to me. I grew up we couldn't talk about things that we talked about in the house outside. In the 80s, you're not talking about spirituality. So what we talked about stayed in the house.
Right.
So I grew up with already knowing from her and experiencing what we experienced growing up that these things exist, but she made it so fun. and it's not something to be feared. And a lot of people fear everything, the unknown. If you can't see it, taste it, touch it, feel it, smell it, then it's not real. And if you are in stillness and you have like an experience with the Tibetan bowls, for instance, you're going to experience something like that where you are no longer, you don't even know what just happened with this. When I was in India, when we were doing the sound certification, we would pair off in groups of two, and I would try to stay awake. So 2 or 3 minutes into this small session, I was gone. But I would try to stay present. But the vibrations within these bowls just take you somewhere. So meditating and having these experiences with the sound healing tools, like these bowls and crystal bowls, the gongs, the shamanic drumming, these are all tools that have been used for hundreds of thousands of years. Right. It's not something new.
No.
So this is what helps us to bring us back to the essence of who we are. If we don't stop long enough to look at that within ourselves instead of going outside of ourselves for something, we're never going to get it.
Do you have to help people that are listening, because a lot of what we're talking about is grounding yourself. You go through the day, you're rushing, your mind's thinking about all the things you have to do on your to-do list, and you're not really here in the moment in grounding. So what are some things that you help people, understand or that you do for yourself to ground yourself other than the sound?
The biggest thing is the breath, pranayama. In yoga, pranayama is probably the biggest key. This is life. Our breath sustains our life. So if you're able to, I have a guided meditation on this on Insight Timer and on the Echo Sync meditations on YouTube. And if you're able to stay aware, consciously aware of your inhale and your exhale, then you can start to shift the brain from being in this fear mode, this reptilian brain, and it actually shifts into this more evolved brain with practice. But a daily practice. So, and it's not something that you have to do for more than 5-10 minutes. If you can just become consciously aware of your breath, and now I'm breathing in, and now I'm breathing out, and you stay with that for as long as you can. The guided meditation will take you through the whole thing, but the first one, the 10-minute one, explains what happens with the brain and how this idea of shifting from the primitive brain, the fear brain, to the more evolved brain through this idea of connecting the two in this thing called telencephalization, where you shift out of this brain to this one, and you're now more participating in your current evolution. You're going forward instead of being in fear and what's next, and oh my God, staying in the past, being anxious, being depressed. And that is all in the back part of the brain. So what I found too is if people are breathing more than 18 to 20 breaths, inhale and exhale within 1 minute, that's a lot. So when I work with clients privately, I measure that when they get into a deep state. And once that happens, I put them on a prescription of you're going to do pranayama every day.
What a good prescription, right?
Yeah.
Something that's not coming in a pill bottle.
Exactly. This is what you're doing for yourself.
Right. Yes. So how many breaths within a minute would you say is a healthy range?
9.
9 breaths. So that active, fast breathing elevates the heart rate, sends us into this fight or flight mode. But the calm and peace, 9 breaths a minute. So that's a little more intentional with how long you're breathing in and breathing out.
But you can start to entrain your body to do that. So there's another practice called Brahmari. So that's the B breath, where you're breathing into the nose, and then you're humming the full exhale. Somehow you're able to hum longer than the exhale than what you're able to blow out with an exhale. So I've tested it where I did 4 within 1 minute. Inhale, and I hummed. Did it 4 times within 1 minute. That's how low I was able to get mine. And you'll be surprised. So if you're practicing that, eventually your breathing naturally will become less, and you'll be less anxious during the day because your breathing naturally is starting to become more calm.
Right.
And less within a minute.
Right. So you're teaching the body, because we're not conscious of our breath through the day. So this is that practice there of breathing in and then humming out your breath instead of just out the mouth. You're saying will teach your subconscious, whatever part of it, I'm not of the body to breathe more slowly throughout the day which will keep us more calm and grounded in here.
You'll become more coherent.
Okay.
That breath. Yeah.
That's awesome, and that's why I knew you had something up your sleeve there when it comes to that, because I'm always looking for that. And I've read I brought this up in the episode that's coming out next week. James Nestor, have you read his book Breath? You would find it fascinating.
Nice.
So he's a journalist, and he went through a lot of the ancient research of ancient practices, Indian tribes, all this stuff, and kind of brings it all together, and finds how important the breath is and how it's a lost piece to our health that we don't talk about enough, to the point to where he plugged up his nose for, I think, a week, maybe a month, I can't remember exactly, and then measured different blood levels and things like that, and saw that his body was like failing, was not doing well just from him mouth breathing, how bad mouth breathing is for you. And then when he took those out, within hours, his body started to regulate back again. And so the whole purpose of the book, and since it's a journalist writing it and not a scientist, it's easy to follow on because he's kind of telling it as a story and how he came to find out all this research. It's fun. It's a fun read, and you're reading this kind of like you're focusing on your breath more while you're reading it. Think, oh, well, how often am I holding my breath? There's a thing for anyone sitting right now doing work or reading emails. You might be holding your breath. There's a thing in corporate world while people are checking email, they hold their breath.
Right.
And when I was sitting at a desk all the time when I was at Northwestern Mutual doing life insurance and things, I caught myself many times at the computer going, because who knows how long I just wasn't breathing for.
Exactly.
So that's really cool. That's a really good tip. So everyone, focus on your breath right now. Let's do a couple breaths in, right? Slow. Should we do a box breath for 4?
We could do.
Let's do it. Everyone, right now, if you're listening or watching this, let's take a moment to do a box breath. I'll let you lead it, Lindy, please.
All right. So just become aware of your breath. Close your eyes. And we're going to take an inhale, and we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. On the inhale, we're going to pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to retain your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you'll take another inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll retain the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you'll exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then retain the breath again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I hope everyone listening, that was helpful
for some people. Everyone breathes a little bit differently. So you can measure your inhales and exhales with your own count. And whenever you feel uncomfortable, you just go back to noticing the gentle inhale and exhale, because pranayama is not supposed to cause any sort of anxiety or any sort of tension in the body. It's supposed to be very relaxed. Your body should be relaxed. Your face should be relaxed. Everything should be soft.
Awesome. That I'm so like not even here now in a good way. Like I'm so here. I'm like, what are we? Oh, we're doing a podcast. So for Calm One, tell me about that. What's your mission there? Where do you see that going? Is it something that you're actively working on? Like, what's it look like 3 years from now for you in your world, or is that is it just coming as it comes to you? What's happening there? Tell us about Calm One.
Well, Calm One, the focus is to raise funds. I mean, the whole reason why a nonprofit is together so they can raise money to do what they do, and the idea to do what we do is to offer to what do you call it? We just went through this a second ago, where we and train people to offer sound healing in hospitals and even children's hospitals, in their local communities, just to be able to offer this sort of sound healing. So we're certifying people to provide sound healing. We're also doing the work in the community. So we can work privately with clients. We can work online with them. So we can be anywhere. The ultimate goal is to have a center, is to have a sacred space, like an ashram, like you have found in India, where you're going to this place of full intention. And that's something that St. Pete doesn't have, is a place like that, where you can go to one place and it's intentional and everyone is welcomed. And it has classes all day, all night, events. There's yogic practices like bhakti yoga where you're doing chanting and things. So there's so many things that can be offered just through the yogic and Vedic sciences. So we're trying to make that available. These practices have been around for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yes.
Let's bring them out to the community in a way that people can receive them.
Yes.
So I think I try to make them fun and engaging.
Got it.
And so it's not too big of a hard, hairy
Right.
deal. You just practice.
So your organization helps train more people to do what you do, and then also in the healing aspect, people come through like that.
Right.
And so are you raising money through donations? Like how do we bring more awareness to your cause?
Yes, we raise money through donations on the website. You can donate through COM1 on the website directly. It's interesting because we're doing two things. We're offering these things in the community, which take time and effort, but also so does fundraising.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, when we've done all these things, where's the energy for that? So we're trying to balance that a little bit better and get a little bit more aware of how ways we can fundraise outside of applying for grants and finding a good grant writer. We're getting ready to launch one of the ones, the Red Cord Project. It's actually on the website itself, and it's just an awareness that we're all connected, and you can give this red cord to anyone that you want to. And that we're going to do a fundraiser with that.
Okay. And what's the website that you're referencing?
Com1.org.
Com1.org. So
that's
for
all
anyone
spelled
interested in learning more about Lindy and her organization, com1.org, and send some donations. So one thing I like to ask, well, you mentioned the book, actually. Let's go back to that. How long have you been working on that book?
The sound healing book?
Yes.
It's been this past year and a half.
And when does that come out?
That's going to come out in next month.
Awesome.
So that's that one. I released a book in 2015, and it was to reduce stress, and it introduced 3 yogic breathing techniques. So that's already been out in 2015. It's an ebook. And then I've been working on the main book that I think is going to set the stage for so many things. It's the truth about mindfulness and meditation. Each chapter reveals a truth, and most of those truths point back to taking your responsibility and taking your power back. And the final chapter in this book is going to reveal something that is going to be mind-blowing. So that one I've been working on for 7 years.
Awesome. And when's that?
I'm hoping to have that one done by June.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting close.
We're getting close.
7 years, I mean, within a few months.
Yeah.
You can
here.
taste the finish line.
I can see it, and yeah, that one's happening.
Okay, that's amazing because it's a goal of mine to write a book in the future. I have a loose idea of the direction that it's going. I journal a lot. I do a lot of things so that way I have a lot of reference points back. And the fact that you've already are working and have done it, that's really cool because that's the question I like to ask people of if you were to write a book, what would it be about? And we are well aware of what Lindy's book is about. Do you have a title yet, or is that something you're still working on?
Yeah, the truth about mindfulness and meditation. And it's interesting because each chapter we're going to talk about something, and it's also going to offer on something what you can do in order to assist you with that, support you with that. Similar to, I did a podcast called I Am Shiftable. My friend Mai Mars that I met in India during this meditation certification course, we came up with this idea of how about we talk about a topic, and at the very end, we're going to offer a guided meditation. So that's available. That's out. We did 19 episodes. We're going to revisit that eventually, but she's had to take some break because she's had some family illnesses and things like that.
Life happens.
Yeah.
Life gets in the way sometimes.
But it's great material. Most of my guided meditations started from that podcast. And it's fun work to be able to actually feel like you're helping. We're here to do something really amazing, I honestly believe. So unless we're not doing what we're called to do, then we're kind of you're existing. You're not living. So it's nice to be able to offer what you fully can feel that this is what your truth is.
You hear that, everyone? Don't be existing. Make sure you're living. Make sure you're helping people out there. Yeah. This conversation has just been so warm. I feel like we could go forever. Tell me, because this is one thing we were going to have to wrap this up here. I ask everyone, what's your favorite place to eat in St. Pete?
Oh, I'm vegetarian. So the Bodega Cafe.
The Bodega Cafe.
It's on Central.
Yes.
It's, have you been there?
I've walked past it a bunch. I haven't been inside yet.
Yeah, so I'm
missing out.
I'm Latin, so it just reminds me of my mom's home cooking, and and they serve vegetarian meals there. So it's You must go.
Okay, it's on the list. It's on the list. But just make sure we add that to the list. Bodega Cafe.
Yes.
Try that out. Lindy, you've shared so much with us. I want to thank you so much for your time coming on. And obviously, there's a million ways. Like between your YouTube videos and watching that, we're going to find out. Yeah, did we ever find out a date? What's the date?
I believe the 25th.
25th of January.
From this Wednesday.
Okay, January 25th, 6:15. I'm going to be at Gulfport with Lindy, and we're going to be present, set an intention, and let her invite us into her sound bath and just having a great experience together. So Talkin St Pete community, I need you January 25th to show up to Gulfport Beach. Is it right? Is it in front of that lizard? Is that where?
No, it's a little bit further down. So it's past the restrooms, in between where the rec center and the restrooms are, right on the beach. You can't miss it.
Okay, can't miss it, in between the restroom and the rec center. January 25th, 6:15. I'll be there. Let's get the community out there. And yes, Lindy, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ryan.
Absolutely. One last thing. What's the best way for people to find you and get in touch with you?
Calm1.
Calm1.org. Calm1.org. Everyone go check that out. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Share with all your friends. Subscribe, leave a comment. And I hope we see you on January 25th at 6:15 of 2023, in case you're watching this too far in the future. See you on the next one, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.